Here I'm going to show you how to improve your infrastructure if you have a low bandwidth internet connection. You could actually use something like a pigeon and add it to existing internet infrastructure and improve your bandwidth by 100 times if you live in a remote community like we do here in Australia in Kyogle. And it's somewhat of a joke, I think, that the government's been so poor with improving internet bandwidth here, when I could prove that, just adding pigeons to current internet infrastructure, I can improve our bandwidth by 100 times. The way you would probably do something like this, you don't have to use pigeons. If you know someone that lives, say, 30 minutes away in town, and you drive to that town every now and then, say once a week, to pick up groceries, you can get a USB key from them. So what we do is we remote log into that computer in town, which is a half-hour drive away, and that is just a Mac Mini that sits on their bookshelf. It's a really small system. It doesn't even have a screen attached to it. And we can remote log into that system over our low bandwidth connection, which is 3G over our phones. We pay $10 a gigabyte for our connection on top of the mountain. So we don't want to download large files that way. We remote log into the location, and if we've got a large software update or we want to download videos or whatever, then we do that through the remote location, and we copy that to the USB key, ready and waiting for when we drive into town. And if we copy that over to, say, the external drive, we can then pick that up later. If you had, again, something that sounds really funny, like having a pigeon or a bird that was trained to fly this USB key back and forth, you'd be able to prove that it's increasing your bandwidth by 100 times, just adding something like a pigeon or someone driving back and forth to current infrastructure. It's something that I think I'd really like to see improved, but until that happens, this is a pretty good workaround that can help solve lots of problems for people in remote locations. If you can build a relationship with someone who has a higher bandwidth connection that's not too far away from you, you can use this method to improve your usability and get large files which otherwise would be exorbitantly expensive.